Hi guys, and basically what I'm going to do this episode, why am I skipping my intro? Well, I'm not really saying anything. Should I really say something in the beginning of a video? I don't know. Why do people even do that? Why do people have intros? What's the thing? Why does PewDiePie say that whole thing that he says that I'm not going to do because I don't want to make things awkward? Now, I am only 5 seconds in the video and I'm already ranting about random things. But yeah, I am just doing some small things this video, no more skyscrapers, because basically I built actually 4, no, I built 3 in one episode. And that for a small American town, which isn't even supposed to have that many skyscrapers in the first place. That's kind of ridiculous. I guess I was in a skyscraper craze or something like that. Though you could argue that I am never not in a skyscraper craze, but that's besides the point. I am just going to do some small things that I need to do in this episode, like making that little crossing over there, because you do need to go to the other side somehow. Now, I also need to pick up some custom scenery sets for those little things on the road when you have like a railroad crossing, because I don't really have all of the objects for that. I only have the things that Vodheen's Gizmos has. But at that point, that was finished because it's just a small thing, and I felt like I need some more support buildings on the main street. Not necessarily a main street, but you could call it the main street. That one street that leads up to the downtown area. You get what I mean. And I felt like, okay, so I've kind of got this classic style that's kind of probably a bit too European for American cities, but then again, it does have that sense of power and wealth and all that, and Americans love that. Okay, no, but yeah, it's a somewhat common thing, and I just like the way that it looked, so I figured, well, I might as well go for it. So I just decided that I would make another building like this to kind of mimic that style that I had going on with the other buildings, except this time a little bit more small and a little bit lighter, and maybe I could even put a shop in it or something like that. And the moment that I built this, I was reminded of a SimCity building, so I was like, I'm going to add the same kind of roof that that building had. So tried Main Street, didn't really look like it, but it looked pretty cool, so went with it anyway. So that was pretty cool. And really, this is just one of those support buildings, and I don't know, I really like building these things for some reason. It just, you just have this general area, and it looks so unfinished and so very Roller Coaster Tycoon-ish, not really realistic in any way. But then as soon as you start adding buildings like this, just to fill the gaps and finish everything off, it just works in a very nice way to kind of create that real city atmosphere. So that's pretty cool. And those awnings are a little bit too, well, bright red, I figured, but just decided to go with it anyway, because really, what other choice do I have? No other awnings really fit that stuff. And at that point, it's just finishing the back of the building. I kind of want to finish all of the backs, simply because this is going to be a somewhat realistic city, so I don't want to have weird things going on where you wouldn't necessarily look around. I kind of want to be able to walk around in the city, even with 3D camera or something like that, and actually feel like you're in a realistic city. But I kind of also don't want to spend too much time on the backsides of buildings, because obviously you barely see those things, and obviously I want to move on to the fun stuff too, like planters. Once again, flowers everywhere, because flowers are awesome and I love them. So really, this also kind of shows how effective plants are at, well, making something look good in a sense. When you get those ugly concrete buildings, it's so nice to just get some nice flowers and trees and stuff like that, to actually get some nature in there, get that nice things that all the left parties want, and then your city looks more green and nice. So that's really cool. And at that point I was like, okay, so I've kind of finished that area, and then it was look around time for me, and then I figured, okay, I also want to add a building over here, and then I was like, nah, that doesn't really work. And then I was like, I'm going to add some buildings over there, and that did kind of work in a sense. The general idea that I had with this was to add like some small facades that you would have, like the Chicago facades that too many people are a fan of in the Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 community. I see so many people doing those things, so much that I kind of don't want to do them, simply because they're somewhat overdone, and I'm also afraid that I won't be very good at it compared to all of the people who practice so much with it and stuff like that. But even though they do look good, I kind of wanted to go for a Dutch facade for this building, which does make sense historically somewhat, since I guess you kind of do have some Dutch influences in some cities somewhere, but not too much. But I just felt like might as well go for it. And the only problem that I really had with this was the fact that I needed to get a full tile placement, obviously, because that's easy to work with, but just one tile would be very narrow, that wouldn't work, but 2 tiles is kind of already too wide, so the buildings already look a bit too low, since Dutch facades are usually much higher and more narrow in their appearance, so that doesn't really work out that well. So I'm not too happy about these buildings. I just decided to finish them off at windows and everything that I really need everywhere to just kind of save them. But then I felt like, okay, I want to move on as quick as possible. But then I looked at the backside and I was like, hell, I still haven't even added the backside of that building yet. So just had to do that anyway, because well, yeah, backsides are important. You can't forget about those things, especially for that building where it's pretty high and you kind of look at it from many angles, so you kind of don't want that to look weird. And this building has 4 floors, it's not even that much. Really, the only problem that I have with Silver City as of now, and that's probably gonna stay, yeah, it's gonna stay there, is the fact that it's somewhat small. When it comes to scale, the normal houses and normal buildings are somewhat well scaled, obviously. They're not too big, not too small really, but the skyscrapers and stuff like that, even though they are so much higher and so much more, well, I wouldn't want to call it aesthetic, but so much more pleasing is also a weird word to use, I don't know. They're just more unique in their appearance. They look like they've actually kind of been designed and actually cost a whole lot of money. But the thing is that the highest skyscraper only has 16 floors, and that's really, really small. I mean, even in the town where I'm living was like 50,000, less than 50,000 people. There are buildings with more than 20 floors, and this is just, for such a town to have such a skyline, yet the skyline being such low buildings, it's kind of weird in a sense. Though I do like the way that it looks when it comes to scale. It's maybe not the best thing, but really, if I would have added skyscrapers that were the size and the height of, let's say, the Empire State Building, because we are mainstream and cliche, it would have been terrible. The Empire State Building would have just dwarfed every other building in the city, so that wouldn't work either. So really, it's just the problem of wanting to create a city in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 with skyscrapers and a skyline, but the city shouldn't be too big, because obviously you can't create a city the size of New York in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. But anyway, I'm rambling on. I've built an entire building almost in the time that I've been talking about that. But really, this isn't all that special, so I guess I haven't really missed out on anything. This is just a building where I felt like, okay, I kind of want to have a office-ish kind of building, yet it also has to have that sort of house look. I don't know, it shouldn't be too out of place within like that street, which is going to have all kinds of American houses, and why do I do that? But I felt like something simple. And it's also funny that from that building, from like when you're looking at the facade of that building, you can see the skyline looming up in the distance, and that's actually pretty cool. And the funny thing is also that the walls that I used and that one little glass kind of prism shape that I have on top of the roof, it kind of looks like, kind of reflects the style that the skyscrapers have in the downtown area, so that's really cool. And in the middle of this, I decided to put a park, because once again, I'm a fan of putting nature everywhere and flowers. Really, I've been talking about SimCity as well, since that was one of the main, well, yeah, that was kind of where I got my idea from in the first place, watching SimCity 2013, thinking, that's terrible, I can do better. And, well, not necessarily that, but I did get inspired by SimCity. But even when I play SimCity, I just place parks and trees everywhere, even though that's not the most efficient way to play it. I just like to do it like that. So that kind of works for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 as well. And at that point I was like, okay, this parking lot doesn't have enough trees yet, so I decided to go on a hunt for places that didn't have any trees or benches or any of that ornamental stuff that I so love, and decided to place all that stuff everywhere, because everyone needs some trees, some flowers, and some benches in their lives. Honestly, they're amazing. And at that point, why am I even... Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Nice lights. I'm a genius sometimes. Yeah, definitely. Well, those lights aren't too great. Yeah, replace them with those lights. That's a lot better. Good job, Silverette. You did well. Anyway, those lights are really good. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Just a small episode doing some small things. And thank you so much for watching, guys. And I'll see you on the next episode. So, bye.